This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Chantelle Cameron here in London. Chantelle, good to see you. An exciting day for you. You've teamed up with Mr. Frank Warren. Before we come on to all of that good stuff, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. And yeah, the good news is out, and finally the got to May, and now my year's going to get cracking. And good news finally, whereas I thought I was going to have a pretty shit year.
Let's obviously start off with this. The team up with Frank. Where did it all come about from?
So it's been going on for about 6 weeks now. Um, my manager's been talking to Queensberry for me, and obviously I was hoping to get the trilogy fight, but I couldn't get the trilogy fight, so there was nothing there for with Matchroom now. It was kind of like, I think it was best for both parties that I went a different route, and this was the best route for me because I teamed up with Frank Warren, Queensberry and TNT, and I feel like they're going to bring the best out of me now and finally give me what the credit I think I deserve. I think I've done my work in boxing and got my credentials, so it's kind of about having the team behind me that is going to help me like celebrate it and achieve more and give me credit.
When you look at the scene out there, obviously Frank doesn't have fighters in your weight division, so I'd be trying to do deals with other promoters and what have you to get you those fights that you want. So what is the plan in place that he's going to put there for you?
So my fight's actually been announced on Tuesday, which I'm excited for. And obviously Frank and TNT are working with other promoters now. It's all changed now. They're all working together. And obviously Frank's on board the fact that how desperate I am to get a crack at my 140 belts again. And that will be the plan. But my career's not going to be on hold for Katie Taylor or anyone else. I'm going to pick who I want to fight, do my own path, and hopefully if the trilogy happens, it happens. But at the same time, Frank's backing me to get the fights that I want and have some big fights, but also keep on our toes.
Just looking at kind of the scene between, say, 140 and 147, I don't know whether you still have an interest at 135, but those fighters are Matchroom and Boxer have a lot of leading names. Is it those types of names you'd want to look at? Like, I know the Taylor trilogy has been spoken about a lot, but you got Tasha Jonas, Lauren Price and Jessica McCaskill fighting next weekend for Unified Crown. You know, those types of fights which you'd be looking at.
Yeah, there's some great fights in women's boxing now. It's flying. All the top girls are fighting each other. There's some great fights out there and elite fights. But the minute I'm just holding on for hope that I'll get my Katie Taylor fight. But I could be being naive and could be wasting my time. But like always, I always focus on one thing, and at the minute I'm obsessed with revenge on Katie, so I'm just keeping that. But obviously I have got a fight coming up, and I'm going to have to take that serious and kind of forget about what's happened, and be more focused on the fight that's going to be in front of me. But it's more that I'm going to have to do a job on that to show everyone who the best 140 pounder is, and everything about that now is all about my performances to show everyone that I mean business.
Despite obviously the split with Matchroom and Eddie, you mentioned obviously you still somewhat want that Katie Taylor fight, you're still thinking about it. Is that something which you took comfort from when you see the cross-promotional fights being made now, that you know it could still happen despite leaving Matchroom?
Yeah, my first talk with Frank and George, it was kind of, I told them what I wanted, and they was all for it as well. And obviously they're working together now, and I think they've kind of got the faith in that they can make that happen for me as well. But obviously I don't think it's just down to Eddie and Design, because Eddie and Design did want the trilogy, but it was Katie and her team that didn't. So it kind of will. If Katie pulls through Amanda Serrano, will she want it with me again? I don't know. She didn't want it a couple of months ago when she said that she wanted it, so we'll see.
What was the downfall of the trilogy? Purely just Katie Taylor, and if so, why did she not want it, is your understanding?
So the thing is, it was all done. It was basically done. I took less money back to Ireland. The date was set, but it was Katie wanted. Apparently, I got the phone call saying Katie wants an easier fight, and I was kind of like, "What do you mean an easier fight? The trilogy is set to go, isn't it? Like, there's been so much noise around it." Katie said in the ring after a win over me about the trilogy, so I thought that's all she wanted as well. It's one apiece. How can you walk away from that now and leave it as one? And that's what I got told, and I was a bit like, well, this didn't make sense really, and then kind of just was all them ambitions and dreams to get the 140 bouts back then were shattered until I teamed up with Frank and TNT, and now we're talking about making it happen again.
What can you tell me about the split with Eddie?
Nothing really. It's kind of mutual. I wanted to leave. I didn't see the point in staying with Matchroom anymore. and told my manager that I wanted something new, something different, and a promoter that's gonna get behind me and back me. So no bad feeling, like it's business at the end of the day. And he has his favourites, and I wasn't one of his favourites, so it was time for me to move ship.
I do just want to ask Chantelle, I'm sure you've seen some of the comments since the link up with Frank, people have kind of thrown out there. Why? Because obviously yourself and Eddie had a great deal of success together, and some of the people pointing out he kept the show going when Dillian White fell apart. Eddie said to me yesterday, made a tournament basically to get you to Undisputed, took you to Abu Dhabi, took you to Vegas. There's all the talk of when Ellie Scotney was pulled off the card when you fought Katie Taylor. Why do you feel like that maybe Eddie didn't do right by you?
So with the Ellie Scotney thing, first of all, that wasn't me, and he could have actually put that out there, but he let me take the brunt of all that like shit that I got from that. He knew that that wasn't me, and he let me take the brunt of that. And I don't know what his ploy was with that, but he could have come out and said like that wasn't Chantelle, but he kept me in the firing line. So that was obviously a bit bittersweet because he had an opportunity there to back me and let everyone know. And I told Ellie that wasn't me. And even to this day, I still get shit from it. But how could I pull Ellie Scotney off a card if I didn't want to fight in Dublin, but I'm having to fight in Dublin and I had no call? How could I have any say over Matchroom when I have no say over my own career? So how could I have a say over someone else's career? Like, if people put two and two together, like, it makes sense. How could I pull someone off a card when my own career is I get no say really, I do what I'm told. So all that was absolute garbage, and he could have easily stopped all that rubbish. And I think he did apologise in the end, because he knew that he apologised to my manager because he knew that that was bang out of order. So that, to getting that across, because everyone that pipes up about that have no idea that I couldn't care if Eddie Scotney was on my undercard or not. Obviously there's bad blood there between me and the team because of the past, but me and Eddie been on the same cards before, so why would it make any difference? So I'm sick of hearing about me kicking Eddie off a card because it's absolute nonsense. And I spoke to Eddie and said, like, Eddie's like, this is not mean. We spoke about it and everything, and I'm just putting out there now that that was an absolute joke, because he could have easily stopped all that shit that went on, and I had to take loads of like shit for that, and felt so bad for Ellie, and I generally did feel bad, and I was in the biggest fight of my career, and I was feeling bad for Ellie, even though she did do that statement and whatever. When I tried ringing her to like speak to her and stuff, but we spoke a week before. Then I messaged her after one of the other fights since then, but that's all the past anyway. But yeah, I'm putting it out there because that triggered me a bit, because that was bad form, and I just rid it. I just literally just took all the shit, rid it, kept my mouth shut. But now I'm sick of hearing about that.
Was that kind of for you then the start of when things maybe turned a little bit sour between yourself and Matchroom? Or?
Yeah, no, again, like, there's nothing good. Like, Matchroom did do good for me. Matchroom, I did become world champion, but that was because I was mandatory for a world champion. So it was like I had to fight for my mandatory spot, which I won, and I become mandatory with previous, and then become unified. And Dillian pulled out, and the show carried on, which was so good because I got to headline the O2. I got to become unified world champion in one of the best fights I've had, and then I did become undisputed, which I am grateful for, and it's great and everything. And that did happen, but at the end of the day, there is some stuff, but there is some bad stuff that happened, but there's also positives. But the bad stuff was time for me to move on. And there's no bad feeling, but at the same time, I'm sick of keeping my mouth shut and taking the blunt for stuff that no one had my back on when they could have, and could have stopped me being attacked online for all this shit that they knew wasn't right. And I think it's just wrong, really.
So I don't want to prod and probe too much more into all of that. But final thing, I know yourself and Sandy Ryan had a few back and forths, certainly recently as well on social media. Is that a fight which now she has a world title holds any interest? I know in the past, on the back of her first loss in her career, you kind of shut it down of any chance of it happening. But now she has a world title. Any interest there now?
I think she's an idiot, an absolute idiot, and a world title means nothing. I've become undisputed, so I've got all the belts really, even though I ain't got them now. I've become world champion, I've been there, done that, and she's still trying to be undisputed, so why is she shouting out for me for? And she just thinks she's special, and I've got literally no relevance to her. Do you know what? I'd fight her bare knuckle. Put it out.
I'm sure Franco might.
Yeah. And as well, she says she's all about it. If she's all about it, then there's bare knuckle fights and everything. Like, don't make it even more interesting. I wouldn't really, but I'm just saying it. But Sandy Ryan's irrelevant.
Listen, I appreciate your time, Chantelle. Obviously, good luck with this next chapter in your career. I'm sure I'll see you about more and more now, so thank you.
Thank you.